Hi, everybody, and welcome to And Here's Modi in the studio today with Periel and Leo. We want to first begin by thanking our sponsors, our co-podcasters, A&H Provisions, best hot dogs in the world, kosher, Glock kosher meats. They really give it to you. They send it to you nicely. It's very, very beautiful. Promo code MODI
for 30%
for 30% off your first order.
www.kosherdogs.net. And if you want a tour of the studio, sure you can get one.
You can just call Seth and tell him that Modi sent you. And then, of course, Whites in Luxembourg. Thank you very much, Whites in Luxembourg, for being our podcast partners. They are a law firm that doesn't just do well, they also do good. They're an amazing law firm, but they're also very philanthropic and just good friends. Arthur Luxembourg and Perry, just people that we're just helpers out of the podcast.
And also, you can't sue us.
You can't sue us, yes, because we are on. Believe it or not, so actually, they're our clients. Isn't that funny? I can sit at the table with Arthur and say, "You're my client."
Yes.
Isn't that funny?
Yes.
Well, that works.
Have you ever sat with Arthur at the table? He's so busy buying everybody else's check. Desserts on me for them. I'll take their check. Okay, never mind. Let's keep going.
I don't know where to start. I mean, so much has happened.
Well, hold on. Just before we do, give the whiteslux.com.
Also whitesandlux.com, because they bought another domain because I messed up their website
so many
times.
Okay, this is our first podcast back after the war in Israel has broken out. Just to where we've all been physically and mentally. The day the war broke out, Leo and I were leaving Israel. The bombs landed at 6:30 a.m. We did not get out of bed because the Xanax was still tailing off.
No, Modi, I looked at you. I was like, is that the alarm? You're like, it's just a test. And we went back to bed.
We were in Jaffa. We were in Jaffa at the Satai Hotel. And thank you very much to the Nakash family. Big shout out. They are so sweet and made us feel like family. It's their hotel. They were all there. And they were just so, so nice. And they were there. And we had breakfast with them that Saturday. And then the second bombs went off, and we saw the Patriots meet them in the sky, right?
What are they called? What'd you say?
The Iron Dome.
Is
that I say Patriot missiles? No,
I don't know.
Is
that what they're called? I didn't know. I thought maybe that was the name. Let me just to paint the picture a little bit. It was Sukkot.
The last days of Sukkot.
It was the last days of Sukkot. So we were eating in the Sukkah outside in the courtyard of the hotel.
And in the morning?
In the morning, we were having breakfast.
At what time?
10:30.
10-ish a.m.
So it was like...
So it had fully started at that point, and the sirens went off. And I look up, because we're outside, and I could see the Iron Dome missiles being deployed, and I could hear them. And everyone gets up to run into the basement. And I get up to run to the basement. I take a few steps. I look back. Modi is still as a statue at the table, sipping his coffee. And I was like, Modi, we should probably go. And he goes, by the time we get back up, it's going to be cold.
The coffee. I don't want my coffee. I don't come back to
that was 10 a.m. on Saturday.
If I come back to cold coffee, the terrorists have won. If I come back to cold coffee, it's their win. But we did not know it was what it was. For some reason, my phone was on Do Not Disturb. My cousin was calling me to tell me this is not a regular bombings that they send over rockets.
Right.
They've invaded.
Right.
This is a war.
Right. So that's... Can you just take a step back just for the people who are not familiar with the fact that many times in Israel, there are
flare-ups.
There are missiles and
violent flare-ups.
And most Israelis are fairly immune to this. I mean, this is a crazy way to live, but this is how they live. And most Israelis do what Modi did.
No, most Israelis go into the bomb shelter until they get the all clear. I don't know. You know what? To be honest, I've never been in Israel during a drill where they had to go into the shelter.
I can tell you because I hear it and I hide under the table or like lock myself in the bomb shelter, and the rest of the Israelis are doing what Modi does, which is like, it's fine, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how... I was talking to you. Leo and I were... I mean, I don't know how you didn't completely fall apart.
To my credit, I did remain fairly calm.
Yes.
Well,
No, he did.
What do
We
you mean?
kept it
What
together.
are you talking about?
We
I
had
was
a flight at 4 p.m. that day, and
yeah,
it wasn't being canceled. It was an Air France flight, and Air France, I think, wanted their plane out of there, and the
Right.
plane was already there. And we went to the airport, and it was very
Were
calm.
you freaking out? Like, because you probably had a deeper understanding than he
he didn't.
did.
He didn't. I had a deeper understanding.
I knew what was going on. I had to keep it cool. I did not want you freaking out. If I don't freak out, so you don't freak out.
I was the one deep in the news and Twitter and
I
CNN,
knew Ron,
etc.
my cousin, put me on what's happening real time. And when we're talking to the taxi driver, not the taxi, our driver that we had, our driver, he was talking to me. Did you notice how he only spoke to me in Hebrew the last day? And all the other times he drove us, he spoke in English because he wanted you. But he was telling me what was going on in the kibbutzes and all that stuff, and he was getting real time information. So I knew what was going on.
So I
I just
spoke
kept
to
it cool. I said, "Let's get
I
to this
spoke to
plane."
Leo, and I was like, "Are you guys okay?" And he's like, "Yes, we're on a plane."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my God, thank God." I thought you guys were stuck there. I was freaking out. And then hours later, you still hadn't taken off.
Yeah.
There was the craziest delays on this flight, and not from like because of the army said don't take off. It was just eh, safety issues with the plane, like they needed a new part or something for the plane.
We don't
And
know that
and
though.
but we saw them doing work on the plane. The guy who made the announcement did it in English. Because of safety issue, we have to delay. And I said, what safety issue? Is it safety that we can't take off? It's too dangerous, or safety because one of the parts of the
Right.
wheels isn't okay? And when they brought us on, and when we were checking on the plane, we saw that they, the thing that reads your boarding card. It goes
Mhm.
bleep, bleep, bleep. It
It
didn't
wasn't
do it.
bleeping, but people were going through.
We were going
And I
through.
clocked that when I was walking on the plane. I said, that didn't bleep. That didn't do the little light thing that it usually does.
Then we were on the plane, and there was a crazy delay. Now, keep in mind, they're teasing us with this thing happened. In my mind, I can't believe we're about to take off in this war. Okay, but we get to the boarding, and they took all the kids' strollers on. The moms come, they put the kid stroller in the bag, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
put that
yeah,
on.
yeah.
So, okay, good. And the crew came. There was a full crew on the plane. There's a crew on the plane. They took the strollers. We are good to go. Then there was another delay. We're gonna start boarding in an hour, and boom. So we go. We got a sandwich. We came back. We get on the plane. The thing wasn't working. You can tell it wasn't working, and the plane was overpacked.
It was oversold because it was the last flight out.
But
So
people were freaking out. Wasn't everybody in the airport hysterical?
No, they
No.
weren't.
No.
Everybody was keeping it together.
Yeah.
It was keeping it together. The next day, we saw the videos of just mayhem at the airport.
So videos.
But wait,
all the-
we didn't. So the thing stopped. The main thing that was the issue once we had already boarded, and you and I were in our seats, that I put together from listening to the flight attendants, and they made an announcement over the thing that the machine that had scanned everyone's boarding cards basically stopped working halfway through the boarding process. And because it was the last flight out, they had oversold the flight. So there were more people on the plane than there were seats. So now they had to go through and check everyone's boarding passes manually to make sure that who was supposed to be on this flight. And in the end, there were people riding in the jump seats.
I
Like
never
those
saw
little
a passenger in a jump seat.
Have you ever
Like,
seen a passenger in a jump seat? It's
and
unsettling.
There's this whole cabin behind the pilot's cabin with like 2 or 3 seats, and they packed them in there too. Those
Yeah.
are people who were family of people that worked for that Air France
Mhm.
in Israel. Anyway, we finally took off. We landed in Paris, and then we're just like, we had one day before our shows, and we're like, what do we do? And thank God we just did the shows. And
And the shows were all sold out, and people had flown from all over the world
We
to
had
come see you.
Yeah, so we were all, by some coincidence, we were always scheduled to leave on that Saturday when everything started, which is, thank goodness, or else we wouldn't have gotten out because we wouldn't have been able to get a ticket. And so you did 6 shows in Israel for the Kobe Mendel Foundation, which is an amazing organization who provides emotional support services to people who have lost a family member to
Wow, they're
terrorism.
going to be very busy right now.
they're gonna be very
And
busy.
so, ironically, you were in Israel doing those 6 shows. We ended the shows, and then we were going to go to Paris. We had 4 shows in Paris that had been sold out for months. And, you know, I would say because of everything happening, they were about 70% full. The last one was
No,
less
but
than-
the people were a little scared.
people were DMing us saying we're scared to come out. It's a Jewish event.
But you made a decision.
I knew I was gonna perform.
Yeah.
And it was the craziest thing to sit in the back. Well, I was in the back of the theater. Like, you open the door and you can see what they're doing, and you see an entire audience on their phone looking at a war. Kids being decapitated, prisons of this, the kids that were at the rave. They're watching all of this before, and then the lights go down. Thank God there was an opening act. Uh, David Azria,
Azria, yeah.
Azria,
David Azria.
this Jewish comedian, and he's never had the opportunity to perform for an all Jewish audience. He was in heaven.
Oh, that's so
He
nice.
went on and he got them, and then I went after him. I addressed the issue right away, and then for an hour and 15 minutes, they just were
They
not
were
in their phones and not in the war. And then we sang Hatikva at the end of every show,
Mm.
and
I
we
was very proud of you when you did that.
yeah,
I
it
was
was
very proud of you too. I was watching
oh,
from
thank you.
here and I really thought it was a gift that you guys gave to people to be able,
Well,
especially the Jews. We often, the humor gets us through.
yeah, at the meet and greet, we had people coming over to us that from
People
everywhere from
flew in.
people flew in for this from Copenhagen, Germany, England,
Spain.
Italy, Spain, and this one woman came from Romania, and she said to me that she said she she was like getting her Hebrew again. She goes, "It was just good to have have sick
A break.
a break,
Yeah.
just a break." We didn't forget about the war, but we just caught our breath. We laughed a little bit. We talked about raising money, and we sang Hatikva. We united, and then we went back into worrying about
The
everybody.
darkest, I mean, the darkest.
It was like doing a show after 9/11. Like
That's
it's
exactly, I
like
mean, that's
it's like
Which I
exactly,
did, which we did.
what
The
you did.
Comedy Cellar did
yeah.
opened up 2 or 3,
Yeah.
3 days after 9/11 happened. The Comedy Cellar opened up, and we got on stage, and
But it's true that
we
if you
did it.
don't do that, they won.
That these barbarians won.
If you
These
don't keep
barbarians won.
living, then they won, don't you think? I mean, I get you have to be respectful and there's mourning and people have died, but I think to
I
cancel the shows would have been the wrong move.
I agree.
Sure.
I think that if people don't feel like they personally are in a place to go see a comedy show, then that's fine.
That's your
But
decision, which I respect completely.
100%. But I think that to be able to provide that for people who do want to come see it is
important.
incredible.
And
Did
it
you
is a
see Pete-
Jewish event. It was for a moment, for an hour and a half. People were as Jews and allies. People who brought their friend who isn't Jewish, and
Yeah.
people who are just fans from online that came to see it because they just loved the Jewish comedy. And we were united for an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half, and it was Mashiach energy, 100%.
100%.
Did you see Pete Davidson's thing on SNL
Yeah.
about it? The
Yeah.
cold open?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that
That was
encapsulated
beautiful.
basically what we were trying to do in
I-
Paris.
Yeah, I think that for me personally, in these, the darkest of dark moments, and this is certainly one of them, is that you look for the helpers.
Mhm.
One of the rabbis that at my son's school said that he was scared of the dark. He remembers when he was 6 or 7 years old and he was scared of the dark, and his parents gave him a little nightlight, and it was the tiniest little light. He couldn't believe how much light this tiny, tiny little nightlight gave. And he said, if
Mhm.
you can find that
Mhm.
right now, that's what it is just you need a little bit of light.
Yep.
It's the only thing that can get people through these, these horrific.
The only thing for me that more I mean, it's been the news is obviously horrific, but the discourse and the opinions of people in my immediate social circle that have come to the surface during this have been really just so disgusting and hard to deal with. And it's
The gay community has just
especially the gay community, because I guess the gay community obviously for many reasons leans quote unquote left and all these things, and so in that silo of political beliefs lies this like pro-Palestinian view,
right.
um which I understand, but there's a time and a place to say context or this or that, but
Right.
not after thousands of people were brutally slaughtered.
Slaughtered.
And They it's just
So
been everywhere.
I think that a very important thing to address for me is to be pro Israel is not to be anti Palestinian, right? Like you can be, I'm not anti Palestinian people at
Mhm.
all. I'm anti Hamas.
Right.
And
Right.
that's a very important
Right.
distinction. And I think that what I've had a similar experience to you, but I think that one of the things that I've learned is that people really don't know what the fuck they're talking
No
Nope.
about.
idea. So
Nope.
the gay community, when they are voicing their opinions out and saying just whatever they're posting, they're reposting somebody else. They have no idea what they're saying. They have no idea what Hamas is, and they think that they're an oppressed people, just like the gays are oppressed. And if
Yes.
they can they
Yes.
would run around Gaza with their gay flag. Hey, we're also oppressed.
Have fun doing
Let me
that.
just explain to you that gay people in Gaza and the West Bank are thrown off of buildings. That's the when if you come out, if you say you're gay, if you're found out that you're gay, your the next move is they throw you off a building. So
Literally.
now when you run around saying free Palestine, anti-Israel, just keep that in mind. Whereas in Israel you have your gay month and gay parades and gay rights and gay
Parties and get
and all of that stuff. So just keep that in mind when you're screaming free Palestine, gays for Palestine, and just pull it together. Understand what the hell you're saying.
So this is the thing is that they think that that Hamas is like if this is not just happening to Israelis, right? Like
no.
this is in the charter to come and kill anything that also represents the West. There are people who are kidnapped. It's not just Israelis in there.
No.
There are citizens.
Of over 12 different countries,
Correct.
if more, maybe.
Correct. Including an elderly couple that used to sit at the border and bring Palestinian people into Israel for medical help. That's what they did. They were retired, and every single day they would sit at the border and bring in people, and then until they were finished with their treatment, and then bring them back. These communities, these kibbutzim that were massacred, um, most of these people are very far left wing. These
Mhm.
people are pro Palestinian, pro.
Right.
This
They worked with them.
yes.
The
They
people
used
that
to
were
shop at each
watching
other's markets.
the people that watched the borders,
Yes.
the eyes on the borders saw the same people working, and then the next day coming across for a year.
Yeah.
They were plowing the fields and doing whatever they were doing, and then the next day they're running across with machine guns, and
Yeah.
they were in shock, but it's just.
It's horrific, really. It's really just
And you have to really find how you're going to help.
that's I think that that's
It
really
goes back. How are you going to help? I'm going to help by giving relief in comedy,
Mhm.
donating portions of our income to organizations that I have worked with and I know are good, and obviously with Leo's permission as well. And it's our money that it's
Mhm.
income, and that's what I will do. And people who feel that they need to post every single thing that's going on, if that's how you feel you're helping,
Yeah.
help.
Help.
I'm not going to be putting pictures of bombs going off on on my page.
And people don't get to dictate what you say or what you put. It's like
Right.
you go build your platform and do whatever you want to do. I am doing what I'm doing,
Right. Just
like
make sure you're helping somebody. Just make sure that your whatever you're doing is helpful, not
that's
hurtful.
that's right.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
That's the main thing I
But
think.
also read your history and understand what's going on because it's easy to make blanket statements
Yeah.
and they're not accurate, and like I understand that not everybody has as deep ties to this country that as I do, and that's fine also. But if you want to have a conversation, try to have a conversation that is going to be beneficial and helpful to
Yeah.
the future of this fucking world.
Yeah, it's just the lack of critical thinking skills and people calling Israel saying that Israel is committing genocidal acts when it's like, well, there's only one side that called for like an international day of jihad and it wasn't Israel. And this morning I was doing research, and Antony Blinken, Secretary of State, releases a report every year on genocide, and I read five of them, including the People's Republic of China, what they're doing to Muslims in China, forced sterilization, mass incarceration, murder, torture, etc.,
Yep.
and the thousands and thousands of people who have been killed in Myanmar, in South Sudan, in Iraq and Syria. I've never seen any of these pro-Palestinian people talk about any of those actual genocides that are happening. But when Israel defends itself, now it's genocide. So it's people can't even unpack their own anti-Semitism and how they're viewing these issues. And I saw a flyer for a rave in Brooklyn that was raising money for a Palestinian hospital, which is fine. That I don't, whatever. I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, whether the money goes to the actual hospital, that's another thing. But they called it the Intifada rave. Like they don't understand the language that they're
No, they
using
don't.
has really strong implications.
And just so one of the headquarters of Hamas is in a children's hosptal.
Yeah,
So just you can't, but they don't know that. But hey, let's
No.
rave for Palestinians. My heart, I've been around the world, and you see people sitting in cafes, and that's the goal. People just want to sit, chill in a cafe, have their gig, have their stuff, and I'm sure there's people in Gaza who do wish they could just have normal lives,
Course.
but they have been taken over by Hamas.
Of course
And
there are.
Hamas does the brainwashing and making sure that their main goal is to kill Jews, and at the same time they also give them food and out of
and electricity
and
and
electricity
water,
and water comes from Hamas.
because no, it comes from Israel.
No, it comes from
No, but Hamas pays these people.
Oh.
The hospital is a Hamas hospital. You're saying the Hamas Children's Hospital, even though Hamas is doing it's like they're captured by Hamas, but they're also they're
being held hostage.
being held hostage, basically. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, it was my fourth time in Israel, and it was the only time that I've felt, semi unsafe.
Semi
But
unsafe.
I
I have news for you. You weren't safe.
no, so I mean, I think one of the most bizarre moments that I've experienced was we were in this room at the Satai in Yafo, and we had a beautiful corner room that was looking at the beach, and we had these like French doors that opened up, and we had all the windows open, and this was after the alarm had already gone off, and so now we were trying to get to the airport, so we were packing, and I looked downstairs, and there were lines and lines of SUVs coming to like basically evacuate people.
Well, they're evacuating. Bruno Mars was at our hotel,
And
so he was.
Bruno Mars was at our hotel because he was doing 3 nights at a stadium in Tel Aviv. Needless to say, the last night was canceled. But we were like, we can't die in this hotel because Bruno Mars is here, and if he dies, it'll overshadow any press we would have gotten.
I would have been a footnote. If a bomb would have hit the Satai and Bruno Mars would have died, no one would have been like. And there was a Jewish comedian that. No, Bruno Mars.
Yeah, I was watching his whole entourage because we had been in the hotel for a few days now, so we like knew the crew.
And by a few days, 9 days.
Yeah, we were there for a long time.
We moved in.
You were in Israel for 9 days.
Maybe 10.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
I'm standing at the balcony, I'm looking outside, I have the windows open, I'm looking down, I'm seeing all of these people, hair and makeup people, like you could tell, dancers, choreographers, just people who were there to do this show for Bruno Mars, getting into these vans. And it was right after the sirens had stopped. And then, no, I actually think at the same time sirens were going off.
Yeah.
But weren't
And
sirens going off nonstop?
The call for
No.
prayer then started because we were in Yafo. So the call for prayer mixed in with the sounds of the ocean and the sounds of these people below me getting into these cars trying to evacuate and the sirens.
That's Israel. That's Israel.
I will never forget that.
That is, you just summed
It just
up.
goes how it was just because the Friday night we were sitting in the sukkah with the Nakash family. We were just the father, by the way, is hysterical. Jokes and funny, and not only that, he does this thing where he cracks himself up when he tells a joke, and it's so addictive.
That's the best.
With Shaul and Ariel, and we just were cracking up. We had the most amazing Friday night in the sukkah, just laughing, telling jokes. I knew I was on when I saw Shaul's wife, Gloria, crack a smile. She just sits there like this. And all of a sudden, she just like, I told a joke and she
Mhm.
just like started laughing. And she was like, oh, I could see in her face, she like, I cannot hold this laughter back. And she
Mhm.
laughed. And the next day, it's just so insane. It's, I think some of the best shows I ever had in Israel. No theater was under
Yeah.
not 900 seats.
Wow.
Gorgeous theaters.
The
You just
shows in
see
Israel were insane.
the shows were in these beautiful theaters, new theaters in Bet Shemesh. Oh my God, there's a beautiful theater there. You can smell the newness of
Yeah, it
it.
was brand
You
new.
can like smell the new, it's so new. And then Israel, Bet Chayal, which looks like Afghanistan, is one of the best theaters for comedy in the world. It's a
Wow.
low ceiling, 900 seats. No one's really comfortable, so they're focused. And Itzik Cohen came to the show from Fauda, Captain Ayub.
Amazing.
And it was doing my Fauda material in front of him, which is
That's
fun.
fun.
And just it was like, wow, it just all changed like that.
Yeah, it all changed like that. I really feel like nothing's ever going to be the same. Like
No,
I really I don't know. I've been like my head is so deep into this thing.
I'm sure. And when the Yom Kippur War broke out, people said this nothing will be the same again, and then it got the same.
I
And
want to
also, but it wasn't live streaming. You weren't streaming the war, Yom Kippur War.
Right.
You waited. The
Yeah.
newspaper came out at night, and they told you on the news what's
The
going
media-
on, and that was your
the social media
film.
is a new front
Yeah,
line of
yeah,
the
yeah.
war, and
Yeah.
I just want to say that like people have been DMing Modi being like, you should like specific videos, like you should post this, you should share this, and it's like really horrible graphic imagery. And on one hand, I think it's important that people see that and understand what's going on, but on the other hand, I do think it's a balance that you have to strike between it becoming just fodder for social media and you
Totally.
become
Yeah.
desensitized to what you're seeing. Like our brains are not equipped to be dealing with that sort of imagery
Yeah.
24/7.
But also
And
it's like first of all, for half of these people, this is just like porn to watch. It's like
some people are,
don't
Yeah.
you watch it, but then like you go on with the rest of your life. First of
Yeah.
all, it enrages me that people send you things. You have to post this. Fuck you. You post that. Don't come over to my house and tell me what I'm supposed to
Yeah.
say and what I'm supposed to post. And it's really
Well,
awful to send people videos like that they are not prepared to see.
Yeah.
Like you can't just do that.
we also had to manage our messaging very carefully. I mean, I was texting you have a publicist now and an
Right.
agent. I was texting all these people. We also had shows that were happening.
Yeah.
So we had security risks that we had to take into account. We had to, you have a certain number of like, cachet when you have an audience online, and you have to choose wisely what you're going to
Yeah.
cash it in on.
Yep.
And we had to make very clear communications about the shows, whether or not there was a happening. When we had to reschedule a show, we had to make a post about that. We had to be very careful what we were trying to say, not because we were afraid of saying the wrong thing, but because there was a lot of things going on and we didn't want to overshadow it.
Right.
And there's another thing I want to say is that I received personally a few messages because now Modi fans are following me, saying that what I was posting on Saturday when we were leaving Israel was insensitive because I posted in my Instagram story a photo of my plane seat and I wrote in the caption, "I've never wanted to be wheels up so badly." And I didn't mean it to be insensitive, and I got a few messages saying that it was gloating and I shouldn't be proud of that and a few other things. Um, and I guess I just want to apologize. I didn't mean for it to come off that way, but it was a scary situation, and I had literally just posted the missiles going off over our head at breakfast, so people were DMing me and asking me like,
Can I
"Are you okay?" So I was kind of just trying to give like updates. I wasn't trying to like make light or like you gloat or anything.
Okay,
That
can
was
I say something? First of all, people can say to you whatever they fucking want. I would love to see what somebody in your situation who was caught in the middle of a terrifying war would not have also been, I would like to leave.
yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't think you did anything wrong. And I think it's outrageous that I'm sure none of these people, I will bet, have ever been to Israel during a war.
On a tarmac with a siren
It was
going off.
I
scary.
mean, like,
It was
It was
scary.
how you
scary,
have
but
nothing to
yes.
apologize for. Like, how
No, it's not. If he feels if he
no,
feels
but
that
it's like
was
these people have no idea what they're
we weren't
talking
hit yet. We
about.
weren't hit yet with how social media. I haven't been posting jokes or stuff because
Fine. So
it just
that's
but so
when
we
you're ready, you'll do it
it
though.
didn't hit us yet how this is going to
Yeah.
be on social media.
So one
So
slide I said, one thing I said, I've never wanted to be wheels up so badly because if I'm being honest, it was one of the longest, most stressful days of our life trying that Saturday in Israel. And then I posted another thing that was a picture that of the graphic on the menu that said Tel Aviv to Paris. And then I wrote, "We're the last flight out of Israeli airspace." And then some people responded to that, like, "And you're proud of that?" And I just wanted to be like, "I'm not Jewish or Israeli, and I don't speak Hebrew. Like, are you suggesting that I stay and fight? Like, I don't understand
Like,
what
what do
you're
you want me to
trying
do? Like, go put on
no,
like
to
a Thai
communicate."
again,
uniform? Like,
don't give them energy.
But
yeah,
It's not
I
I just wanted to apologize, but also I wanted to say, side note, I was so proud of you the way you handled A, us getting out of Israel, and then B, once we were in Paris, you were such a professional. And I'm not just saying this because you're my husband and we work together, but like you were such a professional, you were so calm, you understood the magnitude of what was going on, but you also understood the importance of what you were doing. When you sang Hatikva, I mean, I was crying. And then you, I was also so proud of like w- when the thing in you when the thing that the ongoing thing in Ukraine happened, you were the first person I knew to mobilize supplies
right away.
to get things to where they needed to be. And again, you did it within a moment's notice for Israel. You mobilized so quickly. You got donations. You got those backpacks to where they needed to go. It was just you were both very impressive, and
No,
it was very nice to see. So
but
thank
yeah,
you.
and we are going to keep doing what we do.
Yeah,
We're going to keep doing what we do. I don't know. I will be continuing doing shows. I have a tour coming up, 12 cities. Um, a portion of every show will go to organizations in Israel that I believe and know to be helpful. Hatzalah, United Hatzalah, Magen David Adom, UJA in America. Because UJA, whenever I do one of their organizations, they always show you the movie of what they did the following year, what they've done in Ukraine, pulling Jews
mhm.
out, getting help.
beautiful.
I know next year when
Yeah.
I perform for UJA, I will be seeing videos of we got them this, we got them that. At the moment's notice, we sent this money, we sent that money. That's what UJA does, and I will be helping them. And also the Kobe Mandel Foundation, which is an organization I've worked with for over, I think, 10 years. And they
Beautiful.
just help people that have been traumatized, and they're going to be over,
Critical.
they're going to
Inundated.
be inundated.
Oh, right, right,
They
right.
have
Yeah, but they're
yeah,
also going to be doing
yeah,
critical work right now.
when the daughter, so now Seth and his wife, um, uh, run they ran they have camps
Mm-hmm.
for the kids,
Yeah.
and the daughter's handling it now. And she told me we wouldn't have had if it wasn't for our shows, we wouldn't have had the Hanukkah camp that they have for the
Oh, that's
kids.
Yeah, the
And that was
Mandel
beautiful.
family are very
very,
special
very sweet,
people.
special
Thank
people.
you for having us. It
Yes,
was so nice. I don't we you had done their shows before. I
yeah,
had done their shows before, but I don't think I had met them before. And yeah, they're a really special family who went through a horrific thing, and they're helping people who have gone through horrific
and who are
things,
going to be going through this
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
and
Yeah, I
they do
mean,
important work.
I think that I'm doing some shows. We're going to be donating money from those
yeah.
shows, but it's I did cancel a couple of shows cuz I just didn't feel like I could pull it together to get on stage, but I did
That's what I'm
reschedule them.
saying. I don't know how
Yeah,
you
I said to him, I think he's unbelievable. It's
he got on
incredible.
stage and it was and when they had to yeah, no, we walked through the protest. We walked through this pro Palestinian protest, and the energy there was not pro Palestine. Let me just say
It
that
was kill
it was
Jews.
kill
It was
Yes.
Jews,
kill Jews.
and that is
And I will give one big fat yeshakoyach to the national and local police in Paris. They formed a wall around this protest, and they shot tear gas, and they undid it. They do not want to see Paris become Parib. They want to see it be still Paris. And when we asked one of the policemen, "How do we get to Mateo's theater. He said, "I don't know. I'm from Nice. They brought us up for this." There
Wow.
was a wall
There
around the
was a
square,
lot of
the Republic Square, I think it's called,
I
and
had
they
never seen that many armed police officers in an urban setting, and, but the last time I saw that was in New York when those protests were happening,
And it
the
wasn't like when you
riots and
see a
stuff.
pro-Israel protest when they're wrapped in the flag
Yeah.
singing "Hevenu Shalom Aleichem," like we bring
No, it
peace
wasn't
onto
that.
you, or Am Yisrael Chai, let the Jews
Mhm.
live. It's literally they were screaming "Kill Jews," and they were screaming. You can tell the energy there was insane,
Yeah.
and they were climbing on top of this French monument, like showing we'll protest if even if they did not have a license to. It was
No, it is disgusting, and some of these student groups on these campuses, you saw they put the paraglider on the flyer, did you
Yeah.
see that?
I did
yeah.
see that.
I mean, how can you those kids were at a music festival. Those are mostly people in their 20s. Like, you think they should be held responsible for whatever things you disagree with that
Listen,
Netanyahu's done? Like, what?
Judy Gold said it very well. She said most of the people who were killed in the massacre hated Netanyahu's
Yeah,
policies. And
Yeah,
imagine you being killed for policies of Trump that
or
you
right.
any
don't believe in.
politician.
Right, fine,
Yeah,
but just for example,
Yeah,
yes,
but
that's what it was.
But it also shows you that this Hamas is not.
Yeah,
It's
they
not looking for like, oh,
right.
there's the Jews that like us
Yes,
and work with.
that's right.
It's kill all
Oh,
Jews,
but she's a
kill.
gay vegan.
Right.
She's
Yes,
fine.
they
Like
want to
she's for
just
yeah.
kill and kill and kill. And there's videos of the kids with the machine
I
guns.
know.
Do you see the one kid that he can't pull it, so he do it with his foot, and then he
Because
starts to
he's
fire it
yeah,
into the
it's
air.
sick.
It's just so unbelievable.
On a more positive note, I would like to just say that the amount of love and outpouring of affection and concern and caring messages that I've gotten from all of my friends, Egyptian, Syrian,
Yep.
Black, Chinese, Jamaican, have been so kind, really, like, and so touching.
We've been getting the same ones.
And also that we have gotten we're buying 90 pairs of boots for the
Wow.
guys in the Golani Brigade, in a special elite force in Golani Brigade, which is amazing. And backpacks over there. Like, I like to do just like hand to hand because
yeah.
I'm
That's
working on a
yeah. I see you
smaller
do that.
scale than you guys are.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
No, I
Yeah,
okay,
no, but
whatever.
I've seen what you do. You really, you get it right into the hands of the people who
I
need it.
just I don't like taking money, and
Mhm.
so I don't like dealing with any of that, so I
Yeah.
generally funnel it to a friend of mine who is literally paying on the ground on the other side. I wanna see it going, like, now,
Right.
right? Like, that's been and we've gotten messages and videos from all the soldiers who are getting the stuff, which is really beautiful
Yes.
also. So thank you, like, everyone who's saying something nice, like,
Yes.
it's
Thank you.
it yeah, thank you, like, I've seen
Dr. Ibrahim sent us a text.
Dr. Ibrahim,
Ibrahim
oh,
Syrian
yeah,
and then a lot of people who aren't Jewish. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. There's the good stuff,
yeah,
and that's it. We can start wrapping this up. But I'm just saying we're gonna be doing
We
what
have
we do, and
time.
I'll be doing shows. We're announcing new shows, and
Yeah, we're announcing big
we're
shows.
announcing big shows.
Big
This
shows.
tour is gonna be amazing. It's Know Your Audience tour, and I'm telling you right now, this is the time to be the friend that brings the friends to the comedy show. Give your friends a hefsek, a minute, a moment to just to not forget about the war, but to take a break, regroup, unite with the Jewish community at a comedy show. You're the Jewish community of Milwaukee, of Charlotte, North Carolina, of Atlanta, of Brussels, and then the other dates and kids on campus, go to the Hillel and the Chabad house. Go, be with other Jews, connect with them. Go if you have a JCC and they're doing something. Don't sit alone in your home on phone. That's not going to help. Be with other people, and if you can, be at a comedy show too. Take that break from what's happening in the world, and the tickets will be available on modilive.com. And again, don't just get tickets for yourself. Get tickets for friends, and be the friend who brings a friend to the comedy show. Periel, how can
I'm on Instagram at Periel Ashenbrand. You can find me there, and I'll be doing some shows too. We're gonna do a fundraiser at the Cellar.
yes,
That'll be really great.
yep, and And that's basically it. Anything else? Thank you again to A&H Provisions and to Whites and Luxembourg for partnering up with us, being co-podcasters. And everybody, like, we're back to stay safe.
Am
Stay.
Israel Chai.
I'm Israel Chai, and we will. Nation of Israel will.
Should we title
We've
that the episode? That be the title
Am
we've
Israel Chai.
we've
it?
been through the Roman Empire, the Greek empires that tried to kill us. We're the ones still around, and it's because we help each other and we raise money for each other, and we will get through this. And again, stay safe. Find your balance with social media and the war. And I hope to see you at a show very soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.